in January of this year, in December, I was actually thinking about running for Attorney General because everybody, the worst kept secret was Lori was running for governor. Right? Am I right? Everybody's like, okay, Lori's running for governor. She hasn't announced, but she will. We know. Right? Everybody just knew it, right? And so I said, hey, and so I didn't actually make any public announcements, but I called a few people and said I was thinking about doing this, and somehow it got out. Mm-hmm. So there was a story on it. Yeah. And, long story short, she then says, nope, I'm running for my job. I'm running for Attorney General. I'm like, good. Go back to Congress. I'm honored to serve in Congress. I think it is a tremendous honor to serve you as your 5th Congressional District Congressman. And I absolutely want to tell you that. It's been, other than my kids and it's been the best thing, coolest thing I ever got a chance to do. And so I say that. But I thought, for the reasons I've already shared, that, I could do some good at Attorney General. So I'm at the convention myself. Matt Pelican gives a awesome speech. It was awesome. I was like, all right. I'm not thinking nothing about me running for AG, at all. This is the last thought of my mind. I'm committed to doing what I'm doing. But then they do a vote. She doesn't get it on the first ballot. I'm like, ooh. So then she quits before even a second ballot. I'm like, what just happened? I didn't know. Look, I'm not ascribing any motives to anybody, whatever. I just took me by surprise. Absolutely. So I went home. I was as shook and confused as anyone. But then I thought to myself, hey, I have been thinking about doing this. What should we do? I don't know. What do you think? What does it look like? My team, and I'm going to be candid with you, was telling me, Keith, this is not a good idea because we haven't been able to think the angles all the way through and we don't have enough time. Me, being the kind of person I am, thought you need to move forward because this is something you want to do. You've already thought that you wanted to do this. It's not an impulsive thing, but I thought, you know what? The main thing is I know this is work that I want to do and I think I can help here, so I'm going to do it. I've done stuff like this before, man. I mean, I used to work at Lindquist and Venom, which is a big giant law firm. I was on the 42nd floor of the IDS Tower, 25 years old, brand new job. Man, I was like, the world was my oyster. I was making more money than I had ever seen, which might be not much to some people, but to me it was a lot. And 3.5 years later, I leave that job and go to a 2-story walk-up in Franklin and in Chicago to be the executive director of the Legal Rights Center. I actually did that. My father thought I was absolutely crazy. What are you doing? Man, you're making good money over there. You're going to go over there and work for them folks, man. What do they pay? And then you got to be the director. That means you got to be running behind all these people. Just make that money, man. Get that Cadillac, get that pretty house out there in Maple Grove. But I wanted to go be the director of legal rights because that's where my heart was. And it was the 6 best years of my life while I was there. And so that's kind of where I'm at. I mean, I'm just that guy, right? You cannot get a personality transplant, and I wanted to do the work. I thought it was important, so I went for it. Now, if I was a wiser man, I probably would have just stayed where I was. But I'd still feel, I could stay up in Congress, and all I could really do is talk about why it's bad that drugs are so high. Talk about how bad it is the student loan debt is so high. And talk about how bad it is that Navient is ripping off students and these for-profit colleges are ripping off students, and talk about how bad it is that the next mortgage crisis is going to crash on everybody. And I could talk about how bad it is that the payday lenders are ripping off people. I could pass a law maybe against it, get a fat chance of that, but I could theoretically do that. But I couldn't do anything to make sure they actually didn't do it. So I jumped in. Let me just give you this much of a little bit of insight. So I actually wrote a law banning the practice of no poaching agreements. Now you might be like, well, what's a no poaching agreement? Is it like a hunting thing? No. Here's what it is. It means that Jimmy John's and McDonald's cannot agree to not make an agreement among themselves that I'm not going to hire your people and you don't hire mine, and we're going to make sure everybody makes $8 an hour. Because they were doing that. And I wrote a law and actually filed it and everything, got co-sponsors and everything, had a press conference and everything. Did I get a hearing? No. Did I get a hearing? Did I get a vote? Of course not. Will I get one even if the Democrats take over? Maybe, maybe not. But you know what? Some attorney generals just got together and said, we think this is collusion, violation of the Sherman Antitrust Act, and we're going to do pre-trial discovery on you guys. Show us the documents so we can determine whether you're doing this or not. Oh, yes, you are doing it. You're going to stop doing it. And they entered into an agreement to cease and desist that practice. People's wages went up. I'm like, that's what I want to do. You know, so that's kind of why I jumped in. But there was no conniving on my part. I was watching all this go on and quite shocked at all of it. And I guess you didn't, I don't know if you wanted all that, but anyway, that's my answer. Yeah.